Hello, welcome to Horror Cult Trash Over, the show that discusses all the masterpieces and trash pieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is our penultimate Christmas episode for this year. And what better way to continue things than with an all-time classic from 1996.
Okay, all-time classic.
Oh, come on, it is an all-time classic.
It's a film I've seen many times. It's a Christmas staple. But if this wasn't a Christmas film, would you have seen it as much as you have?
No, absolutely not.
No.
If this wasn't a Christmas film, it could be bordering on horror or thriller, because there are some concerning moments.
There are many concerning
moments.
moments.
As a kid, I loved it, and
oh yeah, hell yeah.
Because of that, it's got that nostalgia attachment. Of course, we're discussing Jingle All the Way. Before we start, I'm going to get the socials catch up out of the way on this episode, because they've all been about Jingle All the Way.
Nice.
So CN Funny John on Twitter said, 2 thoughts. Try to include a Christmas episode of The Simpsons in this. One character said her dad was killed in this movie being trampled on. Also, don't ever do the sequel to this movie. So we watched the episode of The Simpsons earlier, which was great. An episode that also mocks the Hallmark trashy Christmas films.
Yes. Yeah. It's the connection as well is Phil Hartman, who plays Ted. He was a voice on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Most famously Troy McClure, I believe, but he did quite a few. Or was it Lionel Hutz as well?
Well, yeah, Steve Stringer on Twitter said this has the original Troy McClure as the neighbour.
There we go.
Before the actor was shot and killed by his wife.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
Jude DeLuca on Twitter said, honestly, I never saw this movie as a kid in the 90s. My one memory is of the trailer on a certain VHS I most definitely still own. Then last year, I couldn't stop watching it on TV. Also, the mum is an ass. Why did she wait until the last minute to ask about the doll?
Well, yeah. I mean, technically she asks previously, we just don't see it.
Yeah. There's no follow-ups until Christmas.
Exactly. So surely she should have asked a few times in between. But we'll get into why she's an asshole.
And Apothicaire.demort on Instagram said, in the darkest timeline there exists a sequel. So there's a lot of things surrounding this sequel. Apparently it's absolutely awful. I mean, it looks awful as well, so...
Yeah, I think it's starring one of those American comedians that never sort of translated to the UK.
Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah. I mean, I've heard of him, never seen him in
Honestly,
anything.
I thought he was a wrestler.
Oh, okay. Larry the Cable Guy.
I thought that was a wrestler name.
There we go.
But I mean, CN Funny John told us to never cover the sequel because it's that bad. That feels like a challenge.
Well, it does. I mean, we did do Saving Christmas last week.
Worse than that.
Can it be as bad as Saving Christmas?
Exactly.
You've seen Christmas Vacation
2. Yeah, wow. Saving Christmas is even worse than that, but Christmas Vacation 2 is pretty close. But yeah, keep on coming in, all the comments on social media. We're Horror Cult Trash over on Facebook and Instagram, and Horror Cult Trash on Twitter. Carry on talking to us about Jingle All the Way. This seems to have gone down really well that we're covering this. So it's directed by Brian Levant, who also directed such classics as Problem Child 2, Beethoven.
The first Beethoven?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
The Flintstones.
Okay.
Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Snow Dogs, Are We There Yet? The Spy Next Door, A Christmas Story 2.
Okay,
Sophia
this
Grace.
is very on brand for him then.
Sophia Grace and Rosie's Royal Adventure. Max 2, White House Hero. And an upcoming Police Academy reboot, as well as many other random projects.
Oh. I didn't know they were rebooting Police Academy.
Neither did I. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Made on a budget of $60 million and made $129.8 million worldwide. I mean, that's a moderate success. It's just over doubled it.
Yeah.
I think it's gained more of a cult following over the years. from people who saw it when they were kids.
Yeah, I do. I think we are squeezing this into the cult/other section of horror cult/other, because we watched this on a trash film night, didn't we? We saw it on the big screen, and it was marketed as a trash film night. And we remembered the film, and we just assumed it was one of those films that hadn't aged very well. And it has its issues, and we will definitely go into them. But as a whole, it's not a terrible film.
No.
It's a fun, enjoyable film. Yeah, it's aimed at kids, so a lot of it is really silly. But there's still a lot of enjoyment to get out of it, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So it's not 100% trash.
We're getting into the trivia. Producer Chris Columbus, which is absolutely bizarre to me that Chris Columbus produced this, wanted Joe Pesci...
He'd be long dead, wouldn't he? I mean, after discovering the Americas. No?
After what?
Is it a different Christopher Columbus?
Oh, shut the fuck up, you know. He wanted Joe Pesci to play Myron, but he was deemed too short at 5'3" next to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is 6'2". This was despite the fact that Arnie had previously appeared in 2 films alongside the even shorter Danny DeVito. I mean, I'd have loved to have seen Joe Pesci in that role. That'd have been great.
There's a lot of this where we have to suspend belief in
Yeah.
terms of...
Yeah, hopefully they won't go for realism.
Arnold being the Terminator and being a very large-built man. He's quite easily knocked over by random objects. Because, like, Sinbad, I don't know, in comparison to Arnold, obviously, everyone looks small. But I don't think Sinbad's the biggest guy.
No.
And he's, like, knocking him around. So maybe you'd have to suspend belief a little too much to think of Joe Pesci being able to start, like, pushing Arnold in any direction.
Sinbad improvised the majority of his lines. Oh, you don't fucking say. Arnie also improvised many of his responses in his conversations with him. The world
I
premiere...
suppose you'd have to, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
If someone else is improvising.
I mean, they're just talking shit for the whole fucking film. So, it clearly, a lot of that wasn't scripted. You can't script that shit. Like, especially with Sinbad, he is just constantly spewing shit every fucking scene he's in.
Yeah, he makes a few good points, though. And I am one for overanalyzing a film. I don't know if you know that. And I have absolutely overanalyzed this. So some of what he says is, you know, on the nose.
Yeah.
A little bit.
The world premiere was held on November 16th, 1996 at the Mall of America in Bloomington, where parts of the film were shot.
Lovely.
Where they also donated memorabilia from the film to Planet Hollywood in the mall.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
The story is based on the 1980s shopping frenzy over the Cabbage Patch Dolls. However, it ended up perfectly mimicking the Tickle Me Elmo craze of Christmas 1996.
Yeah, there's always one big toy, isn't there, each year. And I think less now. Well, it usually ends up being like games consoles.
The problem is, nowadays, if there's an incident like this, and there's a meme going around about this film, and it's very, very accurate, if this was to happen in modern day, you could literally just order it online.
Well, you would, yeah.
Just pay a little more for it on eBay or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. They'd be sold on eBay for like $2,000, wouldn't they?
Arnold
Like
Schwarzenegger.
Adele tickets.
Yeah. Well, it's like the PS5, isn't it?
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I just don't feel like they've made enough PS5s.
No, they didn't make enough Turbo Man dolls, clearly.
Clearly.
Arnold Schwarzenegger enjoyed the film, having experienced last-minute Christmas shopping himself, and was attracted to playing an ordinary character in a family film. Bitch, you are nothing, like, you're not ordinary in this film.
Well, I might as well mention it now, seeing as Arnold's mentioned it. Obviously, Arnold started off as an action star. He played the Terminator, he played Conan, he played Hercules in New York. His career very much started because of his size. Because he was a very muscular guy. Not because he was a great actor, but he was very much a presence on screen.
Yeah.
Then you get into these family-friendly films, and it kind of starts Kindergarten Cop, doesn't it? And Junior, and all that, where you're meant to believe that he's a normal guy. Particularly in this film, we're meant to believe that he's a workaholic and has no time for his family. But he's always at work. When he's not with his family, he's at work. Wherever he gets the time to work out to become that size, because a lot of people work out every day and they still don't end up the size of Arnold.
No.
So we're kind of meant to suspend belief and think that this is just a normal guy. There's only ever one reference to him being incredibly muscular.
Yeah.
Really. And it just made me laugh. I just found it so funny. I'm like, where is he working out in between all this? Are we just meant to expect? And it's a big thing at the moment, and a lot of actors. Who was it recently? Was it Superman? Who plays Superman?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. He was talking either about his character in Superman or The Witcher, where he starved himself. To look a particular way on screen. But that's never mentioned in the show.
No.
He's just, this is what he looks like. And it's just a lot of that, and I think it is an issue at the now in film where there is a image of what men should look like, but it's never like with the character.
No.
So it's never really mentioned in the film, so it's just this person is incredibly muscular, but there's never mention of them working out. There's no, in Jingle All the Way, and of course I'm overanalyzing it too much, but in Jingle All the Way, this dude is massive. It's Arnold, it's Arnie, he's huge, but there's no mention of why he's huge, because he's too busy at work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
no one else looks like him. So.
Yeah, so we're meant to believe that this is just ordinary average Joe, Howard down the street. I'm like, okay.
In March 2001, a US District Court jury in Birmingham, Michigan, ruled that 20th Century Fox stole a script idea from Detroit high school biology teacher Brian Webster. The studio was ordered to pay $19 million, later reduced to $1.5 million. Webster submitted the script, then named Could This Be Christmas, to the studio in 1994 and never received payment nor credit, despite the film making $129 million worldwide. Wow. 20th Century Fox appealed, and the verdict was reversed since Webster's script was submitted after the studio had already purchased a treatment of what would become the film's script.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's not a groundbreaking idea, necessarily. No. Yeah, but it sounds a bit fishy.
Yes, I mean, it's a very specific idea for that time, obviously.
Well, it depends. I mean, if his treatment involved Turbo Man, then, or a character similar to Turbo Man, then, which it probably did, which is why they ended up giving out the money. So they probably had this original in 1994. He gave them another one, very similar, and they used aspects of that and didn't pay him. Yeah. That's what I suspect, which is very fishy.
Arnie...
Which is so weird for a film that's all about consumerism.
Oh, I know, yeah. Yeah.
And capitalism, But, okay. A bit of irony there.
Arnie was paid a reported $20 million for the role.
Yeah.
And it was his agent who suggested Sinbad, but the producers felt he was unsuited to the role of a villain as it could harm his clean, family-oriented comedy act and reputation. Although Sinbad felt the character would generate the audience's sympathy rather than hatred. Furthermore, he missed the audition due to his appearance with Hillary Clinton and Sheryl Crow on the USO tour of Bosnia, and Chris Columbus waited for him to return to allow him to audition, and although Sinbad felt he had messed it up, he was given the part.
Oh, okay. Sinbad is another one that hasn't...
It's very American.
Very American, hasn't translated to the UK. He's never been on anything here, has he?
No, not that I know of anyway.
Arnie getting paid $20 million, sounds about right.
Yeah.
He was sort of at the height of his fame then. pre-Governor of California.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, makes sense.
Tim Allen was considered for the role of Howard originally.
Whew.
As we all know, he went on to star in another groundbreaking Christmas classic, Christmas of the Cranks.
It would have been on point for Tim Allen, actually. Yeah, I think pretty much what he did in Santa Claus. Have you seen Santa Claus?
I haven't seen it, no.
So, I don't know, a neglectful father role. I've only seen it Christmas-wise, only in Christmas with the Cranks, and that was fucking awful.
I'm just glad that it was Arnie that got the role, because this would not be anywhere near as entertaining or memorable if it wasn't for him.
Oh, so his line delivery,
and psychotic he is in this film.
Yeah, he's bouncing off the walls, and I was gonna say he's on cocaine.
He might as well be. He might as well be.
I don't know why I would say that, but it seems like he is.
There's a good chance.
That was without hold up in court. Am I going to get sued? I don't actually believe that.
They actually just cut the scene before he goes shopping.
He's snorting a line before he jumps in the ball pit with the kids.
20th Century Fox offered him the project after development on a remake of Planet of the Apes, which had been a long-time pet project for the actor, had fallen apart. And he wasn't in the actual remake of Planet of the Apes.
He wasn't in Tim Burton's remake. Lucky him.
And also, for the final bit of trivia, he only signed on for this film in February, and the film was shot so quickly, only 6.5 months were available for merchandising instead of the ideal year. As such, merchandising was limited to a 13.5-inch replica $25 Talking Turbo Man doll, and the West Coast exclusive Turbo Man Time Racer vehicle, while no tie-in promotions could be secured. Despite this, several critics wrote that the film was only being made in order to sell a toy. Chris Columbus dismissed this criticism, stating that with only roughly 200,000 Turbo Man toys being made, the merchandising was far less than the year's other releases, such as Space Jam and 101 Dalmatians. I mean, yeah, the 90s was such a big time for toys tying in with films and...
Oh, that all started in the 80s.
To have that as a criticism is a little ridiculous. I mean, every film was doing that. You know, they must have been using that for criticism for every other film, because, you know, you even had stuff like, even from the 80s, like you said, you know, stuff like fucking RoboCop, which is very clearly not made for kids, still selling action figures and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think probably the criticism comes from the fact that Jingle All the Way is kind of criticizing that, and it's kind of hypocritical.
Yeah,
that they would do it, because Turbo Man, it's not actually a film about Turbo Man, is it?
No,
it's a film about Howard.
Yeah.
And you ain't seen any Howard action figures, are you?
Well, we own one.
Yes, we do. We do actually.
We own the Howard Funko Pop.
The Funko Pop. But it is kind of hypocritical that they've made this whole film based around the commercialism of Turbo Man and eventually seeing the true meaning of Christmas, blah, blah, blah. And then for them to release a line of toys based around the character that they're essentially mocking.
Yeah.
It is a little hypocritical.
Well,
I think it was just an interesting idea, the script, and I'm assuming they didn't really think of the message behind it and just thought it would make a fun film, which it did, but I do think there aren't many layers to the film unless you really try to dissect them. Which is what I'm good at.
And that is what we were just about to do. So a father vows to get his son a Turbo Man action figure for Christmas. However, every store is sold out of them and he must travel all over the towns and everything and compete with everybody else in order to find one. So we start off with a Power Rangers rip-off opening scene where Turbo Man and his stupid fucking voice tries saving a kid with a very 90s haircut Those curtains are on display.
The curtains are on display throughout the whole film. Every fucker's got curtains.
I don't. The voice for Turbo Man in this scene, in comparison to the voice later on, makes the scene later on even more baffling. Because this is not Arnie clearly in this scene. He's like, "Oh, Turbo Man."
This is not an Austrian accent.
No,
definitely not an Austrian accent.
Anakin Skywalker himself, Jake Lloyd, is here playing Jamie. He's watching the show and getting a bit too excited by it before moaning to his mother, who looks like Jennifer Aniston, about how his father never makes it to anything. I genuinely, I'm not even ashamed to admit, I thought this was Jennifer Aniston when I watched it as a kid.
Jennifer Aniston.
Do you not think it looks like her?
She has the Jennifer
and sounds like her.
She has the Jennifer Aniston haircut. So she is Rita Wilson.
Yeah.
Who's married to Tom Hanks in real life. But she absolutely has the Jennifer Aniston haircut.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole film.
And Jake Lloyd, what a disservice the world did to him. Poor Jake Lloyd.
This whiny fucking kid that he has to portray.
I mean, Jake Lloyd himself, because obviously everyone would know him from Star Wars, Episode 1, Phantom Menace, where he got like the biggest backlash and sent him on a really dark downward spiral. I just feel really sorry for him.
Yeah, it's strange, that story of him getting all the backlash.
Yeah.
As if he wrote the fucking film.
I know, yeah. Yeah.
Like, he just acted. He was told to act and he acted. He acted as a child would act.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
And he got all this hate from the dickheads.
Mm-hmm. But in this film, he is a whiny little brat.
He really is. I don't blame him for it.
No, it's not Jake Lloyd's fault, but the character's a fucking
The
arsehole.
character is fucking annoying.
His father, Howard, played by Arnie, it's his Christmas party at his workplace. But, as always, he's just there working hard, isn't he?
Yeah, so we get a montage of Howard in his office on the phone telling everyone that they're his number one customer. His wife Liz, Jennifer Aniston, calls, and she's told that she's also his number one customer. Oh, he's such a workaholic.
Fucking fuming.
Such a workaholic.
And he's being reminded of his son's karate class that he has to get to.
Yeah, so good old, whatever the kid's name is, Jake Lloyd.
Jamie.
He's getting his purple belt. Very excited. And Howard better not miss it.
It's not even that much of a fucking big deal. It's not like he's getting a fucking black belt.
Well, all he does is like chop a bit of wood with his hand.
With his barefoot hands. Okay, let's not take away from how impressive that is. This child chops a bit of wood in half with his bare fucking hands. I mean, we all know he's he's the Sith Lord, but not quite yet.
So at the karate class, divorced neighbour Ted, played by Phil Hartman, he's a popular handyman, isn't he, with the ladies?
Yes, he is.
There's a few ladies that are asking for his work, his services, and he's got the right tool for the job, hasn't he?
Apparently, he's given BDE because all the women want him.
But he's only got eyes for Liz.
Yeah.
He's only got eyes for Jennifer Aniston.
And his fancy 90s camcorder, which is clearly a prized possession. Yeah. For the 90s. He is there filming all the kids on his camcorder.
So, on that note, unsurprisingly, good old Howard misses. He's such a workaholic, he completely misses it. Traffic is awful. Traffic is terrible. He's stuck in traffic. He gets stopped by the police officer when he's trying to cut through. He gets into trouble, doesn't he? And he misses the karate class and Jamie's graduation.
Well, this police officer, this character, every time he's on screen, it's a bizarre series of events. First of all, he pulls him over and I don't know, he kind of acts like he's a fucking horror villain. He's like being all sarcastic with him. He's like, "Oh, why don't you tell me the alphabet backwards?" I'm like, oh my god, is he just gonna beat him up or something? But wait, that's not going to happen here because this film is an ode to white saviours worldwide, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely a film about white privilege and white saviour at the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, he still gets a ticket though. He doesn't get let off too easily.
It's a film about privilege. It is white privilege, but also just privilege as a sort of construct.
Well, it's definitely white privilege, especially what happens to Myron at the end.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Myron's not a great guy. You know,
No.
he is the villain of the film, but we'll get into that.
So is Howard.
So everyone's a villain in this film. Everyone is literally a villain in this film.
Jamie successfully chops a piece of wood in half with his bare hands.
He does, but after missing Jamie's karate class graduation, Howard resolves to redeem himself by fulfilling Jamie's Christmas wish.
Well, before that, he's skipping some key moments. I mean, first of all, Howard tells the cleaner he didn't make it when he arrives. Then he gets home and Ted's on the roof putting up Christmas lights for him. He informs him that he's got the karate class all on video for him. So instead of giving Ted a telling off, Howard walks into the house and has a go at Liz for it and tells her off for a speeding ticket.
Yeah, so he says to Ted, "What the hell are you doing on my roof?"
Haters.
Yeah, he does. I can't do an Austrian accent.
What the hell are you doing on my roof?
Jamie is absolutely fuming.
Yeah, he's watching Turbo Man again.
Jamie has a really cool mural of Captain America on his bedroom wall. I've just written down here, "Bitch, who do you think pays for the karate lessons?" It's not like Liz is working. Jamie also says, "Whoever doesn't get this action figure will be a real loser."
Well, you're just going to be a real fucking loser then. Deal with it.
And that's what so obviously there's a privilege there.
Yeah.
He needs to have this action figure.
Well,
he's got it's a really nice house.
Yeah,
This is a single income family. You know, Liz constantly has her hair done. She's got lovely outfits on. She's got full face of fucking makeup constantly. She's got really nice house. Everything looks really good. She's only got one child who I'm assuming is at school most of the time. So she's just hanging around, probably drinking wine to herself all day. You know, and she's got the cheek to be upset that Howard's working over.
It doesn't see him get his purple belt.
It doesn't see him get his purple belt. I mean, Howard missed out on the office party anyway.
Yeah.
You know, who's paying for these fucking karate lessons? Who's paying for all this shit?
Yeah,
it's Howard. You know, if you want him to spend more time with the family, get yourself a fucking part-time job. Start earning your way.
This scene here where he's talking with Jamie in his bedroom, it's very much the best example of everything you were saying earlier about Arnie being in this role. Like, it just looks really creepy.
It's really strange.
He slowly goes into the room, he's like, "What's up, champ? Are those hands registered weapons yet?" And then he fucking wraps the purple belt around his head and starts doing stereotypical karate noises and kicks. It just looks really fucking terrifying.
And you know, in comparison to Joe Pesci, he's big. But in comparison to, like, Jake Lloyd, he's absolutely fucking massive. It's so weird. And also, just that mural of Captain America on the wall, it's really... why was it not Turbo Man?
I know, yeah.
I was just really shocked. Why would it be Captain America? Would they have to have paid for the rights to have that?
The whole room looks like a fucking advertisement for Marvel.
Oh my god. His room, I mean, me and Gary, we're both big kids at heart. And, you know, we both work full-time jobs. So I sit in a room full of film paraphernalia and toys and Funkos and stuff. But we work hard for them. You know, we know where the money comes from. And then it's this bloody Jake. He's got a TV in his room. He's got everything that he needs. Yeah, I understand, you know, he probably should have this doll because he asked for it and he asked Santa for it and he asked Liz and everything. So Howard is a dickhead for missing out on it. But come on, mate. You know, you've got plenty there.
Yeah.
A lot of people would kill for what you've got. Howard
suggests that he gets an extra special Christmas present to make up for missing the karate lesson. Jamie suggests that he gets in the Turbo Man doll before launching into a very accurate impression of the advertisement for the doll before telling him that Johnny and everyone's getting one. And that he's going to be a loser if he doesn't get one.
Yeah.
Howard's really proud of bonding with his son, which should just be a normal activity. So tells Liz all about it. She asks him if he got the Turbo Man doll that she asked him about 2 weeks ago, her reminder on the night before Christmas Eve, and Howard decides to lie to her and say he got it before doing a shit impression of Jamie's Turbo Man speech.
Yeah, so old Liz sat around all fucking day drinking a glass of Chardonnay. Yeah. She could have fucked off to the mall and got the doll. If it's that important. This is really just the whole premise of the film is based on the fact that Liz was too fucking lazy to get the gift herself.
Well, yeah.
She must have done the rest of the shopping.
Yeah.
She could have just grabbed it then.
But also, why doesn't he just say to her, "Oh shit, no, I messed up. Yeah, I forgot it." And then that's it.
Yeah, and we need to work together.
Yeah, we'll work together and find it. That's it. You know, we'll have a chat, sort things out, sort of shitty marriage out.
It's just a crazy, and there's so many films, particularly from the 90s, that kind of base themselves, well, the 80s as well actually. It's usually women in the role, but kind of base themselves around being career-minded as this awful, terrible thing.
Yeah.
It was a film recently on the podcast, wasn't it? That a lot of it was based around this woman being so awful because she put her career before anything else.
No, that's pretty much every Christmas film we've watched.
Yeah, essentially.
In the past few weeks.
Yeah, probably. But just it's interesting to see it from a man's perspective. But in the back of my mind, I am thinking, Liz, clearly she doesn't work.
No.
She doesn't mention working. They're a single income. He does well for himself, clearly. He's very good at his job. Why couldn't she have just gone out to get the doll?
Yeah.
And the whole film is based around that. That he's so awful because he's a workaholic.
Well, thankfully, it did go that way because now, from this point onwards, we're about to get one of the most chaotic fucking films ever made.
Oh my god, it's hard to keep up.
Liz tells him it's a good job he got it because at this point it'd be impossible to get one. So then on Christmas Eve, Howard tells Liz that he has to go to the office to pick up that doll that he definitely hasn't brought.
He does seem completely oblivious to a lot of things though. I think obviously the film is based around, you know, being too career-minded as a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe a little bit he's gone too far because if this Turbo Man is the biggest news in America, this is top news, this is the doll, and he seemed to be completely oblivious to Turbo Man to begin with. So clearly you don't listen to his son much.
No.
And he's not listening to the radio or watching the news. So I think he does need to take a little time to sort of come out the cave and see what's happening in the world around him. But he tackles it head on now, got no choice.
Jamie whinges at him about not making it to the parade after overfilling the cereal bowl with milk.
Way too much fucking milk.
Oh, we don't go to the parade today. Oh, fuck off.
And Liz is like, Howard, it's Christmas Eve. You can't be going to the office. Bitch, I fucking work on Christmas Eve. Fuck you.
Howard promises he'll make it. Howard heads to his car and is attacked by a reindeer that's being walked by Ted.
Yeah, Ted has a very angry reindeer. Also...
This reindeer's also done a lot of coke.
Oh my god. I don't know a massive amount about American economics in the mid to late 90s. But how could Ted, as a single parent, afford all this stuff?
Oh, his house is even nicer than their house.
His house is even nicer than theirs. He's afforded a reindeer for Christmas. He's not even rented it. He's just going to leave it out in the wild after he's done with it. You know, he seems to be okay to turn up to these karate classes, even though he's, you know, a single income, single parent.
But his income seemingly is him going around shagging all the neighbours.
Well, I don't know, maybe he got a good divorce settlement. Maybe,
Must have.
Yeah, must have.
Ted got the reindeer as a Christmas surprise for Johnny. He's been watching a family of deer by a lake, which is where he'll abandon the reindeer after Christmas.
Boo.
Ted wants to know where Howard's going. Oh my god, he is so intrusive. Oh, where are you going? Where are you going, Howard?
It's highly inappropriate. He is so inappropriate for the whole film.
And Howard's straight up honest with him. Like, I mean, he's like, oh, I'm just going off to get Jamie and Turbo Man doll. Why wasn't there a point in this film where he says this to Jennifer Aniston and then...
It's true.
You know, that could have been a great plot point there.
Yeah. She already knew.
Ted tells him that he has one under his tree for Johnny and tells Howard to wrap chains around his tyres because of how icy it'll be. Now, if there's a certain point where you believe Howard did a line of coke, would it be this moment?
Yeah.
Because from this point on, he's like, how about I wrap some chains around you? And then speeds off, and then it's just out of control. He aggressively tells some shop workers to let him in.
Oh my god, push it. So, I'm confused. I'm confused by this. So he gets to the shop. It's pure Black Friday. Everyone queuing outside. Everyone pushing and shoving to get to the front. Howard pushes his way to the front. And he's argues with the shop guy. Because it's 2 minutes to 9. And they're not opening until 9. What about 2 minutes? Blah, 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 blah. Everyone takes offence and he gets pushed back. And this is where we meet... Myron, played by Sinbad. So Myron is unhinged. I don't think he's on coke. I think he's on LSD. He's hallucinating. He's completely lost the plot.
He's a postman, isn't he?
He's a postman. He talks about, and he makes a half decent point about the emphasis on commercialism and men being forced into the role of the breadwinner in a turbulent economy where employment can't be guaranteed. This is what I gathered from it. It's not as coherent as I just made it.
No.
So he's very much got a problem with women. And he goes on this rant. He ends up strangling a woman.
Well, yeah. I mean, he goes on about subliminal messages on TV.
Subliminal messages? Yeah, he's one of these tin hat ones as
yeah,
well.
he calls Turbo Man Turtle Man at first. And yeah...
He calls him Fruity as well.
he starts strangling an old woman.
He's very toxic masculinity.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it does make a point, you know, of... a turbulent economy. His employment can't be guaranteed. He doesn't, you know, he's a postman, which I don't think is a big paying job. And yeah, he grabs this woman by the neck, pretends that's because she's wearing fur, and no one actually deals with that. No one, you know, no one steps in, tells him, stop strangling that random woman.
No, because violence is nothing in this film.
Violence means
crime is nothing. Like, there's no such thing as crime in this film, unless you're a non-white man who does the exact same things as a white man.
It's true.
Leading up to the finale.
It's true. This is where I'm confused. So the doors are opened.
Yeah.
And the store guy is trampled on. He probably dies. Who knows?
The dad of the girl in The Simpsons.
Yeah. So he dies, and everyone's rushing. People are climbing up and falling. Toys are falling everywhere. Howard, all he's seen is sold out. Turbo Man sold out. Yeah?
Yeah.
He goes to two of the staff and says, guys, I need a Turbo Man. They start laughing. And then everyone else in the store surrounding them starts laughing like, hey, this guy wants a Turbo Man, ha 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 ha. Then what was the rush for?
I know, yeah. Yeah, if it's such a big joke and you knew there's no Turbo Man dolls in there, why are you queuing up?
But why? But what is that big queue?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, it's played out like everyone is trying to get a Turbo Man.
Yeah.
But... there's 3 people in this film who are struggling to get a Turbo Man.
Uh-huh.
It's Myron, Howard, and that random guy later that we'll get onto.
Yeah.
They're the only people who are struggling to get one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, apart from the people with the balls, the lottery people.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But that's a big crowd. But that's the kind of crowd I thought was in this store.
Mm-hmm.
I'm overanalyzing it. I'm confusing. But Jingle All the Way. I never thought I'd say that about Jingle All the Way. But what was this big crowd shopping for then if it wasn't Turbo Man?
Also, they should probably lose their jobs for being so unprofessional.
That's very rude.
But...
Well,
they need to sack him.
Violence.
Yeah. He grabs them both by the collar and menacingly asks where their Christmas spirit is, whilst pulling a really evil face at both of them. They tell him and Myron that a lady just brought the last one. So Myron pushes Howard, and Howard uses a remote control car to trip him up before chasing after the lady, who just drives away from him as fast as she can.
Mm-hmm.
We get a montage of various shop workers laughing at Howard, set to Jingle Bells by the Brian Setzer Orchestra. It's a terrible cover. And it results in Howard destroying a Turbo Man sign in a shop, like a fucking lunatic.
Yeah. So, another weird moment. At home, Ted visits Liz, who is fully dressed, hair looking good, and makeup on fleek. She's making cookies, and Ted offers to finish the cookies so she can relax in the shower. He takes her apron off like a creep,
He does.
and then answers the phone to Howard. Now, I have an issue with this. Number one, this bitch ain't fucking doing anything.
No.
Why ain't she showering in the morning? She's clearly done to the nines. She's looking fabulous. She's serving a look in an apron. She's baking some cookies. She don't need a shower. She already had a shower. The fact that she decides, actually, do you know what, I do deserve to relax, don't I? Do you know what, actually, I do deserve this. Because I do fuck all day, apart from drink Chardonnay and make shitty looking cookies. So I am going to go relax. Thanks, Ted.
But he makes it out like she is the hardest working person on the planet.
Exactly. Well, he's flirting, isn't he? Mm. But he undoes her apron.
Yeah.
And his head is very close to her breasts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is highly inappropriate. That's the moment where she should be like, no, mate. You know, this makes me uncomfortable. Mention it to Howard. Howard comes. Howard's 6'2", Terminator, beats him up. But that didn't happen. No.
Now, Jamie and Johnny are fighting in the background over who's going to be Turbo Man. Fucking annoying. Howard calls up and Ted answers the phone and says, excuse me, but your wife's cookies are out of this world.
I mean, it is funny. I'm glad she doesn't do all that. Because Phil Hartman is actually a great comedian and he is probably the best actor in the film.
Yeah.
He gives the best performance in the film.
Ted tells Howard that he thinks Liz is in the shower before asking if he should go and check. And Howard's like, no! And then we get an iconic scene that has been mean to death. It's just everything. One of the best scenes in the film. Ted continues having an orgasm over the cookies. And Arnie says, put that cookie down! No! It's some of the best line delivery he's ever gave.
It's a testament to his acting abilities that he gives the best performances in Terminator and Terminator 2, where he has the least dialogue.
Yeah, and he has to show no emotion.
He has to show no emotion. I mean, he's got that down. He's alright in Predator as well, but he's not, you know, he's not getting Oscar buzz anytime soon, is he? Bless him.
Myron finds Howard and starts shouting in his face again, whilst asking if he wants to start a team. Myron starts asking him if he wants to start a team, and calls him a racist when he says no.
Which is probably true.
It is probably true.
Which is probably true.
A random person in the street tells him there's a Turbo Man doll.
No, he does.
A toy world. He does.
No, he's running down the street and he's shouting to the person in the car.
Oh.
He's like, they've got Turbo Man at, what's it called?
Toy World.
At Toy World. He's shouting it while running down the street so everyone hears. I mean, you dumb shit. Like, what the fuck? Wait till you get in the car, tell them, because now you've got a group of people who are following you to fucking Toy Worlds and are going to try and get Turbo Man before you do. Stupid prick.
Yeah. So Myron and Howard rush off. Howard knocks over the cop from earlier's bike and breaks his little mirror, causing him to drop his coffee.
Yeah. He does get put through it, doesn't he, this police officer?
Howard gets a fine? We don't really know, because it kind of cuts away from that scene. And then he goes to Toy World, at a shopping mall, where they have a Turbo Man.
So this is Mall of America.
Yeah. They have a Turbo Man to give away to anyone who can find the winning ball in a bucket. Howard has an update. It does a new line of Coke. And...
do you know what else does a line of Coke?
Every other person there.
Yeah. And the balls. These are the bounciest balls. Excuse, do not clip this. Put it on the... These are the bounciest balls I've ever seen. They are incredible.
Clip.
Don't clip that. Don't.
Incredible bouncy balls.
Incredible bouncy
Merry
balls.
Christmas, everyone.
But it's fucking ridiculous.
Well, the incredible bouncy balls soon go everywhere because, of course, everyone is obnoxious and charges towards the staff, so they throw the balls in the air. Mm-hmm. Everyone piles on top of each other. A random woman bites Howard's hand for some reason.
Yeah, also supply and demand means the price has doubled. A nice little nod to consumerism there. Mm.
Myron grabs the ball and pepper sprays Howard in the face.
He does. Now, you'd think that would affect him.
No.
But not really. It was more like, not even pepper spray, like...
No.
Chanel number 5. Like, ow, that hurt a little bit. Oh, I'm alright now.
And then he starts saying, "He got 2! He got 2!"
So everyone pounces on Myron?
Yeah.
His name is Myron, isn't it? Yeah. So he drops the ball, and this, not even a line of Coke, this is a fucking bucket of cocaine this bouncy ball has, because it's bouncing here, there, and fucking everywhere. Howard is chasing it, he's jumping on pianos, he's pushing people past on the escalator, being highly obnoxious, like really seriously obnoxious.
Genuinely, this is the best example of a bizarre series of events. He's a fucking lunatic.
He's gone absolutely crazy. The ball ends up in the hands of this child in a pushchair. Who the child eventually ends up in a ball pit in the play area.
I thought you'd have something to say about a haircut.
Yeah, no.
How can you miss that?
She's got a mushroom in her head.
It looks fucking horrendous. I hate this kid's face so much. Like,
I had it written, but I had it written.
So annoying.
She's got one of his annoying faces, and awful. Like, 1996 called. They want the hair. Oh wait, it is 1996. But she's in the ball pool. Howard jumps in, tries to swap a ball with her. Obviously, looks like a gigantic nonce. Really.
Yeah, well, he chased her all through that fucking child's play area. He goes through the whole thing.
Chased her, pushing kids out of the way. Really incredibly obnoxious. Highly suspicious. And his comeuppance is that he gets waxed.
Yeah, a bunch of kids start waxing his hairy legs.
He gets whacked by handbags, and that's it.
Well, no, I mean, before that, he even says to her, he's like, "Hey, little girl, look what I've got for you. A nice, shiny red ball." And then the kid puts the ball in her mouth, and he fucking grabs her.
Yeah.
He assaults a child.
Yeah. And so...
The pervert, sicko.
But that's what the pervert, sicko... No one calls the police. He should. I'm not a pervert. Oh, okay, mate, bye.
Oh, never mind.
He runs off. Yeah, incredibly creepy. I mean, that's when he probably should have been arrested.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been the end of the film.
A shopping mall Santa and his elf tell Howard that they have a Turbo Man doll. So he goes with them to their shady-looking warehouse hideout, which is full of people dressed as Santa making dodgy, cheap-looking toys.
Yes.
Is this trying to give us some social commentary on anything?
No.
Deep messages?
What about the true Santa?
The true Santa.
Or the truth behind the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! We sound like Kirk Cameron now. It's not. So yeah, so they sell him a wrapped doll.
Yeah.
Howard
$300.
$300. Howard opens it, and it's Spanish. So it's talking in Spanish. It falls apart, and he's obviously absolutely fuming.
He probably shouldn't have been fuming. I mean, you know.
We knew it was dodgy.
Yeah, Jamie probably wouldn't have even known. I mean, your niece had a fucking Spanish Elsa from Frozen. She had no idea. She did!
She didn't notice until we noticed, and we flicked the switch at the back. It was bilingual, so I was actually quite impressed. I think it's quite good, bilingual toys and such. But this one is not bilingual. What I don't understand is if it's counterfeit, why were they acting as if it was the only one? Why wasn't there a queue of people trying to buy? Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
I'm like, if they'd made a shitty one, obviously they've made loads of shitty ones, so they should have just been selling like loads. But anyway, I digress. So a fight ensues.
Yeah.
Involving a Ninja Santa, Vern Troyer, and Paul White, the Big Show. I think he was WCW then, so he would have been the Giant, dressed as Santa, getting into a fight with Arnold.
With his chest out.
With his chest out.
This is such a fucking weird... In a bizarre series of events.
It's a very bizarre series of events.
Yeah.
Vern Troyer, so this is before... Austin Powers.
Yeah.
But Vern Troyer gets punched and flies across the room.
I mean, the first one, Howard pulls his beard and lets go, which causes him to do backflips into a pole.
Yeah, was he played by Jim Belushi?
Maybe.
I think he was played by someone famous. Because he'd said, we're doing this for all the little boys who wake up on Christmas morning and find clothes. I'm like, oh no, not clothes for Christmas.
Santa orders everyone to do the North Pile on Howard when the police show up. And Howard pretends he's a cop with a fake police badge that he found amongst the toys. And the police officers are fucking idiots and they believe him.
Yeah, because of privilege, he is able to get away with it.
Yeah.
Because he looks quite clean cut and looks quite fancy. So he can't be involved.
Yeah.
Everyone else looks scruffy, so therefore they must be involved. Well, they're all dressed as... He's the only one not dressed as Santa, to be fair. There's a couple of elves, isn't there?
Yeah, and he calls them a bunch of terrorists at a tea party. Howard drives away and his car breaks down, so he goes to a diner, whilst one of the neighbours tells Ted how much of an amazing man he is. Johnny tells Jamie that he called his reindeer Ted after his dad. Jamie tells Johnny that he wishes his dad could do cool stuff like that. Johnny suggests that Jamie's parents should get a divorce because his dad was only cool after he divorced his mother. Jamie is fuming at this.
I mean, he's got a point. It is kind of a bit like, well, you know, very dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Maybe they should get a divorce. Liz would have to learn to...
Pay away.
Pay away. And Howard would have more time. There wouldn't be such a burden on him to be the breadwinner and to keep up this fancy house and the fancy car and such, so he could relax a little bit.
Well, let's face it, he probably wouldn't be running around like a fucking moron looking for an action figure, because if they were divorced, Liz probably would have got it herself to be the better parent.
Yeah, she probably would have, actually.
Jamie storms off home and answers a call from Howard, who has to speak to Liz, and he informs him she's next door petting Ted.
Yeah.
Like, what? Jamie starts whinging about Howard making it to the parade and starts talking shit about Turbo Man's views on promises.
God, whining.
So Howard basically tells him to shut the fuck up about Turbo Man. So Jamie whinges some more and slams the phone down. Liz walks in and says, "Damn you, Howard."
She does. She says, "Damn you, Howard." And I put, "Bitch, maybe you should have gotten the doll yourself. You ain't working with your nice house and clothes and your Jennifer Aniston haircut." And he does mention, Jamie does mention, I'm assuming it's Turbo Man's catchphrase.
Yeah.
"Always keep your promises if you want to keep your friends." Okay.
That's really impractical, but okay. It's giving a child a false view of what it's like to be an adult. But
A little bit, actually.
Howard has some coffee in the diner. Myron is also there conveniently. And they start talking shit about tree houses, being a father, and Johnny Seven Guns.
Yeah, so Myron blames everything on other people.
Yeah.
It's either his ex-wife or his kid being spoiled or the toy companies and the commercialism and all that. But he blames more than anything else his father for failing to get him a Johnny 7 OMA gun. I'm assuming it's a gun.
Yeah.
Because it's America. Oh, sorry. I'm assuming it's a gun toy. So he didn't get that, and that's why he's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Myron is resentful, and he knows he can blame his father because he has a degree in psychology. Which made me question, who paid for college?
Yeah.
It might not have got you a gun, but someone must have paid for college. But also, why hasn't his degree in psychology afforded him greater opportunities in life? And then we're getting into, social issues there, and Myron being held back for certain reasons, or maybe he was on a scholarship, came from a poor family, his father couldn't, and then because this is what I do, I build up these scenarios in my head. I was watching Jingle All the fucking Way. I'm like, you don't fucking know. This is Sinbad just talking shit, just throwing it out there. I don't think he's saying anything.
I mean, he's already brought up
great about the social political climate.
Well, he's already brought up racism and subliminal messaging.
He has. So he has a degree in psychology. Maybe he's been held back because of his race.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why, because he's a postman and he must work long hours, very tiring work, but he has a degree in psychology and he wasn't able to use that. A bit, he does blame everyone else. So
yeah.
He's not whole. He is. I mean, Sinbad even said that he kind of feels sorry for him, but he's not fully, likable.
No.
He just blame everything on everyone else. Howard tells a story about how Jake, what's his son's name? Jamie. Fuck's sake! Why do I struggle with that? Howard tells a story about how Jamie got a tree house. He built him a tree house, and he was so proud when Jamie made them eat Christmas dinner in the tree house.
What a fucking nightmare!
It's like, oh my god, spoiled brat. Could you imagine turning around to your parents and saying we're eating Christmas dinner at a tree house?
Yeah.
Tell you to fuck off and throw you out the tree house. They'd tear the fucker down. They'd tear it down, wouldn't they? No.
Howard hallucinates and sees Jamie dressed as Myron drinking Old Homestead whiskey. Is it whiskey?
It must be, yeah.
And he says, "Here's to you, Dad."
Yeah.
The radio.
Or because he didn't get a Turbo Man.
I know.
I'm assuming this, but it's played without any real irony.
No. Yeah.
It's like how ridiculous this whole thing is. The idea that really nice house. He seemingly gets everything that he wants, apart from this one toy, and that's going to ruin him for the rest of his life. Without a single bit of irony. Like, oh, okay. Are we, you know, obviously it's played for laughs, but not really looking at what that actually means.
In an extended bizarre series of events, the radio starts talking to Howard and tells him that if he can name all of Santa's reindeers, he'll win a Turbo Man doll. So he runs to the payphone to call the station. Myron, of course, tries to get to the phone. Howard hits Myron with the phone a few times. Myron pulls the phone out of the phone booth. And Howard strangles Myron on the table. More violence. That means absolutely nothing.
Yes.
The guy at the diner tells them where to find the radio station. So he is just as much to blame for this horrific series of events that are about to happen. So they start running to it, and Howard tells Myron that he's barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, which usually means someone's gay, but...
Yeah. Howard smashes through the radio station door, and psychotically tells the ponytail radio DJ the name of all the reindeers.
Yes, played by... Oh, what's his name? Martin something. Willard Kraft from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I don't know if that's his name.
No. Yeah, but that's who he's played by.
Yeah. Myron shows up and threatens Howard and the DJ with a bomb before shouting random shit like a fucking psychopath. Myron throws the package, and when it lands on the floor, it's revealed to be a musical jewellery box.
Yeah, do you know what actually makes Myron a fucking asshole?
What?
Is that he deliberately ruins people's Christmas Eve post and deliberately ruins their Christmas presents in an effort for him to get what he wants.
Yeah.
It's like really shitty.
It is. The Ponytail DJ explains that he doesn't have a Turbo Man doll, but a voucher for when it comes back in stock in shops. The police show up. Howard grabs the voucher.
Martin Mull. His name is Martin Mull, and he plays Willard Kraft on Sabrina, and he's a great comedic actor.
The police show up. Howard grabs the voucher and runs into the same cop again.
He's everywhere.
And Myron threatens them with a bomb.
You know how Ted's really weird with Liz?
Uh-huh.
I think this police officer has the same thing with Howard. He just always seems to turn up.
Well, I mean, he doesn't arrest him in the end, so he's going to have something for him.
Yeah, it's true.
And Myron threatens them with a bomb and leaves it on the floor when they both escape. And, again, in a bizarre series of events, the police open it up and it's actually a fucking bomb that blows up but doesn't kill anyone.
No.
And
it's
then we
a Looney Tunes bomb, isn't it?
And then we have a fully fledged terrorist joke in 1996.
Yeah. Like, yeah. So even after, it's like, oh my god, Myron's like, oh my god, that was an actual bomb.
Yeah.
We live in a sick world. Well, parcel bombs were actually a big thing, like, particularly in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
You know, they actually did happen. People sending bombs through the post.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of the most famous cases, obviously the Bjork stalker. I'm like,
yeah,
this is real stuff that actually happens to people, and you're playing it as a joke, like a Looney Tunes style joke. It's a bit.
Yeah, it's
a little on the nose.
The most badly aged joke of the whole film. It is bizarre that it's even a thing. Howard's car has been trashed for some reason, and had Merry Christmas spelled MERI-Xmas sprayed on it.
Yeah, let's never explain why that happens.
No, just randomly his car, no one else's.
Just his car. Just so he can return home in a tow truck.
Yeah, to see Ted putting a star on the top of his tree.
Yeah, I've gotten written here, why is Liz allowing Ted to spend so much time in her house without her husband there? Especially when Ted has acted increasingly inappropriate with her. Like, she must realise that he's acting really inappropriate. He's hanging around her house when her husband isn't there. She should feel some sort of guilt.
Yeah.
At just how inappropriate that situation is. Just say, you know what, mate, don't come round when my husband's not here. You know, you practically had your face in my chest.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. It's really inappropriate. He's a single man. She's a married woman.
Yeah.
I mean, if you knew that was happening whilst you were out...
Fuming.
Yeah. I had a Ted round. Putting the star on the tree. You'd be fuming.
Yeah. Well, Howard is also fuming and talks to himself in
That's why I hide it so well.
And talks to himself in a sinister voice before hearing Ted tell him about Johnny's Turbo Man doll. Yes, Howard is now getting voices in his head. Liz tells Ted the star on the tree is Howard's thing, and he's adamant that he has to do it. And Ted says, too bad he's not as adamant about spending time with his family.
See, that's a really inappropriate read. I mean, that's none of your business, Ted. Really inappropriate. Clearly Ted doesn't work.
I know, yeah.
I know this is Christmas Eve, but people do work on Christmas Eve. You know, it's one of those things. I know he's not working, but he could have been.
Yeah.
It's, you know. So, Howard decides to steal.
He breaks into Ted's house.
Breaks into Ted's house to steal this Turbo Man doll. Fortunately for him, it's the only present under the tree wrapped in Turbo Man gift wrap. So that makes it very convenient. What I don't understand is the carolers that turn up. They are singing without knocking at Ted's house.
Yeah.
They're singing at it from a distance. They haven't knocked. They're not at the porch. Ted and Liz at Howard and Liz's home next door stand on the porch and watch them. The carolers still aim their caroling at Ted's house where there is no one in. No one knows Howard's there.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you fucking serious? I know it's setting up for what's to come, but fucking hell, that is some shoddy writing. Like, seriously, why would the carolers be caroling and singing at an empty house when there are two people not too far who are watching them going, oh, how lovely, how romantic, lovely day.
Well, Howard, it must do something to Howard because he has a change of heart and decides to take Johnny's Turbo Man back when Ted the reindeer chases him and trashes Ted's house, knocking a Jesus statue over, sending its head into the fire.
Well, he breaks in through the front door.
Yeah.
But because the carolers are there, conveniently, he has to go out the back door where Ted the reindeer is. Ted the reindeer attacks him in the house. A fire is set. A head falls off one of the wise men.
Jesus' head. No, it's Jesus.
Is it Jesus? Bloody hell. No, not baby Jesus.
No, I don't think it's the baby Jesus. I think it's grown up Jesus. Oh.
Well, Nativity's baby
he looked
Jesus.
Looked like adult Jesus.
Well, whoever it is, Joseph, Mary, wise men, Jesus. It's the head's on fire, and Howard kicks it out the window at the carolers who scream and run off. And the jig is up, isn't it?
Yeah.
The jig is up. They find Howard holding the gift, and everyone is absolutely, and deservedly so, absolutely fuming.
He's just standing in the fucking window like, hi. And no, you've literally broken someone's house. You're standing in someone else's house.
Ted doesn't press charges.
No, Ted doesn't even care. Like, all he cares about is fucking getting his way with Liz.
This is his way of getting his leg over with Liz.
Yeah, she's absolutely no time to hear his chaotic Christmas Eve story.
And this is the only time it's mentioned how muscular Arnold is. When Ted says you can't bench press your way out of this. Do you know what he can do, though? Punch a reindeer in the face.
Oh, yeah. Ted the reindeer charges at Howard and he says, you picked the wrong day. Howard fucking punches Ted the reindeer before drinking some booze with him.
And I shouldn't laugh, but it is actually probably the funniest scene in the film. He punches the reindeer in the face.
Who thought this was a fucking good idea? Oh, it's a kids' film in 1996. I was going to punch a reindeer.
Punch a reindeer in the
face. And then get drunk with it.
But apparently violence solves everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ted the reindeer is the biggest fan after that.
Violence is the answer, you know?
Yeah, Ted likes it after that.
Yeah.
Jamie whinges about his dad not being able to get to the parade again.
Oh, fucking hell.
When Johnny has some wise words for him. Turbo Man's going to be there. You can always count on him. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, there's this weird thing, and it happens because Howard gets a taxi, doesn't he?
Yeah.
To the parade.
Yeah, it looks like a shit drawing.
So he decides that he's going to go to the parade. He gets a taxi. The traffic is absolutely horrendous. The taxi driver says everyone's going to the parade. Turbo Man will be there. I'm like, you're a grown ass fucking taxi driver. Why are you acting like Turbo Man's a real thing? Like, but he's acting like the Turbo Man's gonna be there. I'm like, you're a grown adult. Why talking to another grown adult? There are no children around. Why are you pretending like Turbo Man is real? And it's not just some random guy dressed up in a suit.
Weatherman Gail Force and news reporter Liza Tish of Radio 5 are covering the parade, aren't they?
Yeah, Liza Tish is giving absolutely Serena energy.
Jamie and Johnny run to see what's at the carnival, and Johnny gets way too overexcited when he sees Cat in the Hat. Literally, everyone there, like the Crayola crayons are there, fucking all these, you know,
Paddington,
big pop culture names, and he's like, Cat in the Hat!
But that's the only one he chooses. I don't know if it's like property. What? Who made this film?
I mean, they're all on screen.
Are they all Warner Brothers properties?
20th Century Fox.
20th Century Fox. But anyway, he's literally like, Cat in the Hat. Have you seen that video of the Queen when she sees a cow? It's like that.
Cow!
Cat in the Hat.
Ted pours Liz some non-alcoholic eggnog and makes the moves on her in his car.
Yeah, he finally goes full throttle. Says,
you deserve better, Lizzie. Someone you can talk to, a shoulder to cry on. Before shoving her head onto his shoulder.
Mm.
He tells her he's an eligible bachelor, and there are many women. Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, he said illegible. That means you can't read
him. And there are many women who would kill to be in her position. Howard obviously turns up at the wrong time and spots Ted feeling her up.
Yes.
Like, okay, he's actually being really predatory towards your wife. Probably shouldn't be pissed off. You should probably go and, like, help her.
Well, he uses violence to resolve every other issue.
I know, yeah.
He'd punch a ranger in the face, but he won't punch a guy who's feeling up his wife in the car.
It's true. Yeah, he's never violent towards Ted, which is odd.
No, but we're glad of that because Liz does it herself.
She does. The
only good thing she does in the film.
Well, before that, Howard ends up knocking 4 hot coffees over that cop again. Like, literally, we see 4 coffees that have just been brought going over this guy's face.
Yeah. After a bomb exploded in his face.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
How is this guy still alive?
And relatively quite chirpy afterwards. He's always angry at Howard, but never seems that angry otherwise.
No.
I mean, he actually... he takes part in the parade, and he's actually really jolly and having a good time.
Yeah.
You actually, if anyone feels sorry for it, it's this police officer. It is he's only doing his job.
Yeah, I mean, he gets straight back up and he chases Howard to the changing rooms for the parade performers. Liz punches Ted with her non-alcoholic eggnog and leaves.
Yes. Yeah, so good for her.
Best thing she's done all film.
Best thing she's done. So yeah, in a fortunate series of events... fortunate because Howard is a muscular white man. He is mistaken for the actor who is to portray Turbo Man in the show. Mm-hmm. So he's dressed up in a highly technological costume.
Yeah.
He does his bits, but it's very boring. He's waving and everything, and
you're not going to mention the racist joke we get?
Yeah, I was going to. He's on the float with
Booster.
Now Booster is a cat, a saber-toothed tiger.
I don't know what he's trying to be. He looks like a walrus, a bear, and a cat.
Yeah.
All mixed into one.
So he's...
And gay.
Well, that's the thing. So in Turbo Man the show, Booster is his trusty sidekick, who's a large saber-tooth cat hybrid or whatever, but bright pink. Everyone hates him. No one wants... Turbo Man's sold out, but Booster hasn't.
Plenty of boosters.
Plenty of Booster. I can't remember the actor. He has a very distinct voice, but he portrays the actor who is in the Booster suit.
Yeah.
And he's smoking a ciggy, and he's fuming because obviously Howard's late. He says, "I'm sweating like a dog in a Chinese restaurant."
Yeah.
Yeah. So another joke that really hasn't aged well at all. This is a kids' film. It's
I know.
kids, but who is that joke for?
Yeah.
Who is it for?
Yeah.
Kids aren't going to get that joke. Well, I certainly hope not. I hope it's not something that's taught them at home. You know, kids aren't going to get it stupid. But, you know, it is 96, so it hasn't aged very well.
Yeah.
But I'm reading Booster as queer.
Yeah.
Bright pink cat, you know, probably why everyone hates him.
Yeah, Howard's now Turbo Man on the parade and waving to everyone. This is cool, I can get into this.
But this is, and I don't want to sound too woke about it, but this is white privilege.
Yeah.
You know, if this bloke wasn't white, no one would have mistaken him for the actor. He wouldn't be in the show.
Yeah.
So he would have been in Myron's position, getting arrested, like he should have been.
Yeah. Gail and Liza reveal that there's a Turbo Man doll to be given away, very conveniently, to a random child that Turbo Man chooses.
It's a special edition, isn't it?
Yeah. Howard finally holds a Turbo Man doll after all this time and chooses Jamie to give the doll to before shouting, "Jamie!" in an unmistakable Howard voice. Jamie's like, "He knows my name." Yeah, that's also clearly your father's voice.
Yeah.
You're a fucking moron.
So, Howard and Myron
Yeah.
have gone on a very similar journey throughout the film.
Uh-huh.
They've both neglected to buy a doll that they should have bought.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Howard is a, well-off guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a spare $300 to pay for a counterfeit one.
Yeah.
He's white, muscular, I want to say all-American, but obviously it's Arnold, so he's got Austrian accent. But he's also called Howard, which I don't think is an Austrian name.
No.
But anyway, he's all-American, suburban, all that.
Uh-huh.
Myron, very similar in his story, in regards to the doll, has neglected to get it, needs to find it. They've both been quite violent towards each other. Myron is obviously black and less well off than Howard.
Yeah.
He's divorced, quite bitter from it all. Howard ends up becoming Turbo Man, even though they've gone on the same journey together.
Yeah.
He ends up becoming Turbo Man simply because he's a muscular white guy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to overanalyze it, but I think it says a hell of a lot.
Oh, yeah.
The crutch of this ending and the fact that Howard is the good guy.
Yeah, he's the
and
hero.
Myron isn't he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Simply because Myron couldn't be the good guy because he ain't white.
Yeah. Well, they literally end up in the costumes, the hero and the villain, and Howard is the hero.
Yeah. Even though they've gone on exactly the same journey. Yeah, I know, Howard didn't threaten anyone with a bomb.
No, but he did assault a child.
But he did assault a child. He assaulted a reindeer as well. He punched a reindeer in the face.
He's
assaulted
someone's house.
children. He's, pushed people almost down an escalator.
Yeah.
They're both just as bad as each other.
Uh-huh.
And this is, I know it's only Jingle All the Way, and I know it's just a film, but I think it says a lot.
It does say a lot.
The choices that filmmakers make says a lot about, their intentions.
Yes.
And a lot about the kind of society that's created these films.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's very interesting. Obviously, it's 1996, but it's interesting to look at that aspect of it and how really the film takes a turn in one direction simply because of, let's say it, white privilege.
Yeah.
I think it's just interesting.
Yeah, Myron knocks out the guy in the Dementor suit to steal his suit, and Booster has a cry as Jamie gets his Turbo Man doll. You don't see Myron's kid at any point in this film.
No.
Getting his doll. Myron comes down on a zip wire to attack Turbo Man just as Howard's about to reveal who he is to Jamie. Something that Jamie should have already figured out by this point.
Really should have. This is where Myron really does become the villain.
Yeah.
Because he, however annoying this child is, Jamie, he really does put him in grave danger and doesn't care about... Like, literally, he could die.
Yeah.
And Myron doesn't give a shit. He still wants that toy. So this is kind of a bit where, okay, maybe you are psychotic.
Myron demands that Howard gives him the doll and punches Booster when he tries stepping in, saying, "Nobody likes you, Booster," and a bunch of kids start beating him up.
Why are you laughing? It's gay bashing.
I know, it's awful. Myron and Howard have a fight when Myron tries stealing the doll from Jamie. Howard starts waving his crotch at the camera to celebrate hitting Myron with some discs. It is a jarring sight.
I missed that part. I'm not going to lie to you.
You've seen it so many times, how do you not remember when he starts doing this weird dance and starts waving his dick at the camera?
I'm used to it, maybe, clearly.
The Demon Team, aka the Power Rangers, start attacking Howard whilst Myron chases Jamie to a roof. Asks if he's seen Vertigo and tells him that Uncle Myron wants to speak to him.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
He
is full on villain now.
Howard starts using Turbo Man's jetpack to fly around really badly to great hilarity with awful special effects and causes absolute chaos in the process. He flies through the parade, flies into a sign that spins him around for a bit, flies through a family's window, and then into a wall and finally onto the floor.
Yeah, in very 1996 fashion.
Yeah.
The effects aren't terrible,
No,
but they're of the time, aren't they? They're of the time. They can forgive.
Jamie and Myron start climbing up on a Christmas tree decoration on a roof, and it falls over the side of the building, leaving them both dangling over the edge. Literally this is ridiculous. They're about to die.
Yeah.
Over this fucking doll.
He is literally about to kill a child for this toy. But the thing is, if the kid falls, then the toy's going to fall with him and probably smash. It's like, really, what is the point of all of this?
Yeah.
But
well, Howard uses his turbo rang to knock Byron off the building. And he grabs the doll on the way down, but gets arrested when he falls to the ground. So yes, the guy that didn't assault a child and assault a police officer, making coffee spill on him, is the one who gets arrested.
At the end of the day, they both should have been arrested.
They absolutely
absolutely should have been arrested. This is the thing. They both should have been arrested. They've both used violence to get their way.
Yeah.
They've both put people in danger. They're both super obnoxious. But it is quite telling that Myron is the only one that's ends the film in handcuffs.
Yeah.
And I know that's not the intention of the filmmaker, but it means something that they've made these decisions. So it's a subconscious thing.
Yeah.
I really do. I genuinely believe that. And I genuinely believe that, this film sort of, at the end is literally Myron couldn't have been Turbo Man because he wasn't white.
Yeah.
But if he was Turbo Man, this is I'm gonna keep this and I'll give it to my kid. End of film.
Yeah.
It's just I just find it very interesting. I do actually.
Well,
That's how my brain works. I like to over analyze.
Howard saves
family-friendly entertainment.
Howard saves Jamie after he falls and takes him back to Liz. Jamie still fucking whinges about Howard not making it to the parade, and Howard reveals that it was him in the costume all that time. Liz is like, Howard? She then stares at his cock in the outfit and is like, Howard?
Yeah, I would just like to, because particularly with a film like this, which is here, there and everywhere, it's hard to keep track of what's going on. So I do use Wikipedia to sort of form my notes. And I did appreciate how Wikipedia said, Howard reveals himself to his family and apologises for his shortcomings. I don't know what he's revealing to his family, but Liz seemed quite impressed, so I don't think she needs to apologise for his shortcomings.
The same cop that's had the many incidents with Howard shows up.
What's his fucking name? He didn't even get a name.
He didn't even get a name. He turns up to thank Turbo Man, and is shocked to see it's Howard, who apologises to him for everything and still doesn't get arrested.
Doesn't get arrested.
Myron, on the other hand, is being escorted away by the police when Jamie gives him the fucking doll because he has the real Turbo Man at home. Are you fucking kidding me? That makes the rest of the film such a waste of time.
It does. It makes the rest... Yeah.
You can't have been that bothered about the doll the whole time. He's willing to just give it away like that.
Because he had a real hero at home.
Yeah.
I mean... Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a shitty thing to do. Like, if I was Howard, I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me?
But it's again, and I really don't want to overanalyze it too much, but it is this white kid. White privilege has given him this toy, and then he says, no, Myron, you can have it, your kid can have it. I've got the real superhero at home, my big white dad over there. The optics are weird. They are really weird. And I understand it wasn't written that way because Myron wasn't written as a black character.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming because
they're going to get Joe Pesci.
They're going to get Joe Pesci to do it. But the optics of seeing that and this whole ending of the film really plays out like a white savior story. I've got it here. It's Christmas Eve. How's Myron going to get the toy to his son anyway? If he's been arrested, if he's spending the night in jail, he probably doesn't have the bail money to get him because I'm assuming bail money's quite a lot. So he probably hasn't got that. So his kid ain't going to be seeing that toy for Christmas anyway.
No.
And he's not going to see his dad for Christmas because he's arrested.
But the parade cheered Turbo Man on and the film ends before we get a post-credit scene.
They literally lift him up.
They do.
Go, yay.
Then we get a post-credit scene where Howard puts the star on the top of the tree and Liz tells him that he went all that way for Jamie and it shows how much she loves him and it makes her wonder what he got for her. And we get a close-up of Howard's shocked face because he's such a terrible person to the point he even forgot to get her a Christmas present.
That is unforgivable. That is unforgivable. And
that's Jingle All the Way.
Yes.
The chaotic, badly aged Christmas classic that, thanks to the power of nostalgia, is very rewatchable.
It's very much comparable to a cheesy Christmas song.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you wouldn't watch Jingle All the Way in July.
No.
You wouldn't listen to a cheesy Christmas song in July. But bitch, when December comes, we're watching it in all its not aged well glory, all its problematic glory, all its ridiculousness. Probably because of nostalgia.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure kids these days aren't watching it and being like, yeah, I'm going to watch this every year now. But I remember watching it when I was young, and it really... It doesn't hold a big place in my heart, but there's a little place in my heart for it. So yeah, I'm assuming everyone's watched it. If you haven't already watched it, I wouldn't.
No, of course check it out.
Really?
The 90s fun.
Yeah. Okay.
So, if you're listening on iTunes, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. You can now rate on Spotify as well. So, go ahead and do that. Give us a nice 5 stars if you're feeling generous. And like and follow on everything else. I'm Gaz92 on Letterboxd, Gazmo205 on Instagram, and GazChris92 on Twitter.
I'm Chris Barker823 on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd.
We're back on Friday with our final Christmas episode of the year, where we'll be discussing all 3 versions of Black Christmas for original versus remake. And there'll be no new episode next Tuesday, but there will be a new episode on Friday, where we'll be discussing our best and worst horror films of the year.
Yes, something to look forward to.
Yes.
Not Black Christmas.
Well, yeah, the first film, obviously.
Well, yeah, obviously. Everyone knows that. But yeah.
So we'll see you on Friday.
Bye.
Put that cookie down! Now!